One thing you might not know about Old Coach Road is there's never...
Our journey begins at the bottom of Broderick Road by West Park School, once Johnsonville West School. The map shows clearly how the Old Coach Road winds its way over the Johnsonville Western Hills and down to Ohariu Valley. Old Coach Road now officially starts at this point where Broderick Road ends. We travel up the modern road for a short distance before it is finally blocked off to vehicle traffic. However, it is still readily available for pedestrians. This sign shows you that the Skyline Walkway travels either south to Mount Cow or down to Ohariu Valley via Rifle Range Road, and it is an extremely well used track in the weekends.
Now we come to what is probably the most controversial part of Old Coach Road. For the purpose of this video, I'll keep it to a short summary of what happened. It's certainly not a legal definition of what happened. In 1971, a developer came and said, can I develop these sections above Old Coach Road into housing? The council said, yes, we could do with the rates, thank you very much. The developer turns up with his bulldozer, starts levelling the sections. Local residents and ratepayers point out to the council that this is still a legal road and you can't just build houses on a road any old time you want to. You have to follow council's own rules. The council admitted that it hadn't actually followed its own rules correctly and started to correct that by holding the appropriate public meetings and private meetings and legal discussions and what have you. And after much toing and throwing, the council agreed that the development could go ahead, providing there was a road to the west of the suburb that allowed for people to come up from Broderick Road, Old Coach Road, and go over to Ohariu Valley. So the road is still here. It's not quite where it was originally, but it's still here and it's still usable, and that's the main thing. It also has the pleasure of being called New Zealand's first historic road, as deemed by the Historic Places Trust. So that's a story in short of how Old Coach Road became a historic road.
From here we head south. Bathgate Street is up to our left and McClintock Street is in front of us. What isn't commonly known is that a lot of traffic for Old Coach Road didn't come from Johnsonville but came from Roa railway station. If you were bringing livestock to Ohariu Valley, it was easier to bring it across the fields where Onslow College is now and onto Old Coach Road and over that way. McClintock Street to our left, we turn right onto what is effectively the original part of Old Coach Road, now heading up towards Totra Ridge.
Every weekend lots of people come up Old Coach Road to enjoy the views. I wonder how many people stop and look at the hill behind me. If you look closely at the hill behind me, you'll realise that it isn't a full hill, it's only half a hill. Men with picks and shovels chopped it in half, broke the rock up, turned it into gravel to use as a roading surface on Old Coach Road, which made it a far better road.
From here we head north, and from this point we can look out over the new subdivision and see how it has pushed Old Coach Road to the very edge of the valley. Here we are looking out towards Cortina Avenue. From here we travel west towards the top of Totra Ridge and the working farm. The working farm has gates and a cattle stop. The council also do a very good job with its signage, just to keep everyone on the right track. Heading north into the top of Totra Ridge, where we get some very nice views out over Ohariu Valley.
I've now come up to the highest point of Old Coach Road. From here you get magnificent views out over Ohariu Valley. Behind me is Totra Ridge. There were two walkways, two tracks from Johnsonville across Ohariu to Makara. Originally they were Maori tracks and well used for many generations. Old Coach Road is one of them, and the other one which was going to be turned into a proper road, goes from the top of Truscott Avenue up into the hills. It follows the stream, and if you've seen my program on the reservoirs and water supply of Johnsonville in the 1840s, you'll see it filmed and mentioned there. So it's at the top of Truscott Avenue, and the stream went all the way up the hill. And they started to make this road, and it was going to be called Old Ohariu Road. Why they called it Old Ohariu Road when it was new, I don't know, but they did. They started construction on this road, and as they did, engineers went up to the top, up to Totra Ridge. They quickly realised that they couldn't get oxen and carts down the other side, so that road was never finished. But you'll see it on maps as a paper road, but it was okay as a walking track, but no good for horse and cart. They came back to Ohariu Valley Road to realise that that was the only way to do it. In 1856, an Act of Parliament was passed allowing the board to tax local residents to pay for the road. Local residents didn't like that, and they simply refused to pay the tax. Can't really blame them, can you? In 1857, another act was passed by Parliament called the Ohariu to Macra Roading Act, and that came with £1,500 to pay for the road. Locals liked that quite a lot.
Old Coach Road. You love your walk up the hills. What will happen when you can no longer go up the hills? Up the Old Coach Road, to the sun and rata you love so much. The pukeko and the three birds you see every time, and you tell me so, that I can see the twinkle still in your eyes.
As we head towards Ohariu Valley, you can see that the engineers put a considerable effort into maintaining a constant gradient. Ohariu and the hills around it had a considerable amount of timber which was needed in Wellington, and the horses and bullocks needed a constant gradient to be able to pull it up the hill.
In 1857, the workers who were working on the Old Coach Road went on strike, and they went on strike for better working conditions and more money. Well, actually they went on strike because just over the other side of Cook Strait in Nelson, gold had been found, and they figured, why are we digging holes in a road when we could be in Nelson making money digging up gold instead? So they went on strike for more money. Unfortunately, the gold ran out. There wasn't a lot of gold in Nelson to be had. So they went back to work after having been on strike for a few weeks, earning no wages and making no gold.
As we head down Old Coach Road towards the Ohariu Valley, we see on our right the power pylons. These power pylons were put in 1963 and transfer power from the hydro dams in the South Island up to Haywoods and over to the rest of the North Island. Some damage was done to the historic road while doing this, but most of the damage has been repaired now, and the Wellington City Council do a great job of maintaining the road. I talked to the workmen here who are very proactive in maintaining the level and surface of the road without damaging the underlying historic road under it. And if anyone says the road isn't very usable, this truck made light work of the road, bringing up some more gravel to put on the surface, makes it much nicer for mountain bikers and walkers, and there's even sufficient room to do a 3-point turn. As part of recent maintenance, some of the historic culverts have been fenced off to prevent animals damaging themselves and the culverts. Some of the pipes under the culverts have been replaced with the old-style steel pipes rather than modern concrete ones, showing that the council does care about the historic nature of Old Coach Road. Remembering that the Johnsonville to Ohariu Road is a very historic road, it opened in September 1858. It was a year late and it doubled its original budget. Some things never do change, do they?
A while ago I did videos on memorials on the top of Totra Ridge in Johnsonville. I've just come down Old Coach Road, and there's some horses here enjoying the day out, lovely people. But there's another seat here too, another memorial seat I didn't know about.
At this point it would have been possible to take Old Coach Road directly down to Rifle Range Road, but to maintain the gradient they needed for oxen to haul out timber, it was necessary to take Old Coach Road several hundred metres further to the south. This made several engineering problems. A lot of the road had to be built on a sheer bluff, and it was also a very rocky area, and I'm sure a large amount of dynamite was used to blow the rock out of the way and use as fill.
One thing you might not know about Old Coach Road is it was never used for coaches. All the coaches went from Nio, Naranga, down Glenside and out to Ohariu and all points north. There was no point in having coaches go to down to Ohariu Valley because there were only half a dozen farms there.
The road continues down towards a hairpin and then back towards Rifle Range Road. Quite an engineering achievement in itself. At the bottom here we can see a new fenced area done by the council, and to the left is the entranceway to the old dam and pumping station. Coke was brought down Old Coach Road to the pumping station every week to maintain a flow of water up to the top reservoirs to supply Johnsonville with water. From here we head towards Rifle Range Road. Lots of people walk the road in the weekend. It's a beautiful bit of countryside with the stream and the hills. Old Coach Road was only used as a sole entrance to Ohariu Valley for about 5 years. In 1863, construction of the road, now known as Ohariu Valley Road, was started by farmers. They needed access to their paddocks and farms up that road. By 1866, the road was open to traffic, be it in a limited way. The road was continually widened and extended, and by 1908, when the extension to Ironside Road met up with Ohariu Valley Road, it was a serious alternative to Old Coach Road. It was of course a longer way if you were coming from town, so Roroa was still a prime exit point, and then over Old Coach Road was easier. But if you were coming from Johnsonville, it was shorter, if not a bit steeper on the Johnsonville side, to get to Ohariu using Ohariu Valley Road. And I read that by 1908 this road was considered better for motor vehicle traffic. So even by 1908 the consideration of motor vehicles was playing a part in road building.
Walkers, runners, mountain bikers, and people just out to enjoy the view all get out in Old Coach Road in the weekend. So this historic place can still be enjoyed by all those who have before. So of course the one thing that should be allowed on Old Coach Roads is horses, because after all they were here first. If you've enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend and subscribe and give it the thumbs up. If you like the sunset, I've produced a time-lapse video of the full sunset, also available on YouTube. Thank you.